Peace. Rami Salaam. Thank you for joining us. I want to keep it short and simple. I just wanted to say this real quick. This video series it's for all people, but it's specifically, or it's directed at, or it's meant for the so-called black woman, the so-called African American woman, or woman that's a person of color, however, whatever term we're using right now. And it's because, well, one is that the nation can rise no higher than its woman, and also because I don't feel like there's enough energy and effort directed specifically towards uplifting our women. So, I want to be the example of what I wish to see. So that's what this video and these videos are going to be about. Is really just taking this Moorish information, or taking all information, and me expressing, what I feel is important for our women, for you to know and to be aware of, and to live up to, or to represent, So let's get right to it. This chapter is chapter 21, and it's entitled Marriage Instructions for Man and Wife from the Noble Prophet. But when I read this chapter, it does apply for marriage, but in general, I feel like these are some like concepts, or like foundations, principles that we should, especially our women, should operate from. So let me read it, and then I'll talk a little bit about it. Give ear, fair daughter of love, to the instructions of prudence, and let the precepts of truth sink deep in thy heart. So shall the charms of thy mind add luster to the elegance of thy form, and thy beauty, like the rose it resembleth, shall retain its sweetness when its bloom is withered. In the spring of thy youth, in the morning of thy days, when the eyes of men, niggas is looking, and they're gazing on thee with delight, and they're like, yeah, she a bad one. And nature whispereth in thine ear the meaning of their looks. When you hear that voice inside saying, oh, he checked you because I'm a bad, yeah. Listen close. This is very important. Hear with caution their seducing words. Be careful of men's seducing words. Guard well your heart, and nor listen to their soft persuasions. You hear what I'm saying? Don't pay no attention to it. Remember, thou art made man's reasonable companion, not the slave of his passion. Let me read that again for you real quick. Remember, thou art made man's reasonable companion, not the slave of his passion. Meaning women weren't created just to serve men and just to be a slave to our passions and desires. The end of thy being is not merely to gratify his loose desire, but to assist him in the toils of life, to soothe his heart with tenderness and recompense his care with soft endearments. Who is she that winneth the heart of men, that subdue him to love, and rein in his heart? Or it says breast, but it's talking about the heart. Lo, yonder she walketh in maiden sweetness, with innocence in her mind and modesty on her cheek. And her hand seeketh employment, and her foot delighteth not in gadding abroad. I'm not sure what gadding is. Gadding. Gadding, but I'm thinking it's just like BS. But let me focus on that one part real quick. Innocence in her mind, modesty on her cheek, and what was the other thing? Oh, and as I'm reading this, sometimes it's speaking about men. Like right here it says, the end of thy being is not merely to gratify his loose desires, but to assist him in the toils of life, to soothe his heart with thy tenderness and recompense his care with soft endearments. I wanted to make a quick note that this, like, it sometimes is speaking to women, but men can also listen to understand what we should look for in a woman. So if you're a man, then listen to these words or read these words. Go get the Holy Quran, or just email me, IAMHHtemple@gmail.com. IAMHHtemple@gmail.com, or just leave a comment. I'll shoot you a link so you can read it, chapter 21. But you can read these both ways. So just wanted to have you to keep that in mind. She is clothed with neatness. She is fed with temperance. Humility and meekness are as a crown of glory circling her head. So here are qualities, and this is listing more qualities that you as a woman should have. You should be clothed with neatness. She is fed with temperance, humility and meekness. What was the other one? Seeking employment, modesty, innocence, maiden sweetness. I'm not sure. Some of these terms are kind of old, so you probably need to look them up. Let's keep going though. On her tongue dwelleth music. The sweetness of honey floweth from her lips. Decency is in all her words. In her answers are mildness and truth. Submission and obedience are the lessons of her life, and peace and happiness are her reward. Before her steps walketh prudence, and virtue attendeth at her right hand. Her eye speaketh softness and love, but discretion with a scepter sitteth on her. But discretion with a scepter sitteth on her brow. The tongue of the licentious is dumb in her presence. The awe of her virtue keepeth him silent. When scandal is busy, this is very important for our women. Listening? Cool. No offense. Don't get mad now. When scandal is busy, and the fame of her neighbors is tossed from tongue to tongue, if charity and good nature open not her mouth, the finger of silence rests on her lip. Meaning, don't gossip. Please. Please. Her breast is and that's for men too. Just so you don't get all upset. I know there's a few women, but married. Yes. Let me get back to it. Her breast is the mansion of goodness, and therefore she suspect no evil of others. This is spelled with like the ETHs on the end of words. So it's kind of hard to pronounce. Speaketh, sitteth, suspecteth. But let me focus. Sorry. Her breast is the mansion of goodness, and therefore she suspect no evil of others. Happy were the man that should make her his wife. Happy the child that should call her mother. She presides in the house, and there is peace. She commands with judgment and is obeyed. She arises in the morning. She considers her affairs and appoints to everyone their proper business. She's running the house. Once you got all of these qualities, then what did it say? Happy, what did it say that at? Happy were the man that should make her his wife. You see? So if you got all these qualities, then a man is going to be happy to make you his wife. And then you will be placed in a position where you are running the household. Deep. The care of her family is her whole delight. To that alone she applieth her study, and elegance with frugality is seen in her mansion. The prudence of her management is an honor to her husband. He hear her praise with secret delight. She informeth the minds of her children with wisdom. She fashions their manners from the examples of her own goodness, leading by example. The words of her mouth is the law of their youth. The motion of her eye commandeth their obedience. She speaks and servants fly. She points and things are done. For the law of love is in their hearts, and her kindness addeth wings to their feet. In prosperity she is not puffed up. In adversity she heal the wounds of fortune with patience. The troubles of her husband are alleviated by her counsels and sweetened by her endearments. He put his heart in her bosom and receiveth comfort. Happy is the man that has made her his wife. Happy the child that call her mother. This is a very powerful chapter. In the next chapter it says duty of a husband. So I don't want you guys to get, too wild on me. Because, it's definitely stuff in here for us. But, no gossiping. That's key. I want you to read this yourself. What was else the other thing? To be modest on her cheek. Modesty on her cheek. I guess she's just showing modesty. It's for all to see because it's plain as day on her cheek. Innocence in her mind. Humility. There was one more. Submission and obedience. That's a tough one. Line 9. Submission and obedience are the lessons of her life. And peace and happiness are her reward. So that's really a key point, because it's not this whole, let me close it right there. It's not this whole you need to just submit to your husband or your man and do whatever he says. Nah. Submission and obedience, that's what you got to put forth. But in doing that, you receive peace and happiness. In doing that, you are elevated to a station where you are managing the household, and you're telling everybody this is what you do, this is what you do, the servants doing that, and you running things. And you running things, that will make the husband happy secretly. He may not say it out loud, but he'll be proud. Like, yeah, my wife, she got things. Look out, boom, boom. And that's how we used to operate. Matriarch, not patriarch. Just something I wanted to share with you today. Chapter 21, The Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, or the Moorish Science Temple of America, by Noble Drew Ali. Closing statements. This is my first time doing this kind of video series, so walk with me. If you have any, matter of fact, if you have any questions, that's the one thing. If you have any questions, especially so-called black women or Moorish women, if you have questions for me as a Moorish man, please email me, IAMHHtemple@gmail.com. Excuse me. If you have questions on, like, I don't know, any question, any topic you want me to discuss, just shoot me an email or leave it in the comment section. Yeah, I think that is it. Thank you. Peace and love.